Hello everyone, and thank you for watching another video from Energy Vampires. Okay, so earlier today I shared something on Facebook that was quite negative and disturbing, I think, but very fitting for the topic of energy vampires. And I just felt that I wanted to do something positive, because you know what? Like, energy vampires is a bit of a negative title for my page, but I'm not all negative. Far from it. I believe in positivity. I really do. And although there's a lot of negative things in this world, I do think that we need to put a positive spin on things, because we do need to dwell and focus on the positive if we are to be sane and grow as people. Okay, so yeah, if you're wondering what that post was, it was to do with drinking blood. It was very dark, and by all means, join my Facebook page and you'll see it. Right? Okay. Now, I was inspired to do this video by a post that I saw, and the post said, "If cauliflower can become a pizza, then you can do anything." Right? And I thought, wow, that's so true, because I've made a pizza out of cauliflower before. It's called a keto pizza. So if you're trying to go for low carb rather than traditional dough pizza, pizza base, okay, what you do is you basically grate some cauliflower really fine. You cook it a little bit, add an egg to it to bind it together, and you got like a zero carb pizza base. Google it if you don't understand what I'm talking about, and especially Google it if you're trying to have a low carbohydrate diet to try and lose some weight, like I have done. Because it's pretty amazing, that you could take a cauliflower, the last thing you'd expect to make from it is a pizza, and yet you can, and it looks like a pizza. I can't say it 100% tastes like a pizza. Certainly the topping does, but not the base. But it's a good substitute. Okay? So, yeah, I mean, the parallel here is that you can be anything you want to be. You can create your reality. You can create your destiny. You can live your dream. Okay? But most important is that we can collectively, as a collective consciousness, we can change this world. Okay. So yeah, it's a tough job, but it can be done, and it's been proven scientifically. If you look at the work of Greg Braden, he talks about it when he talks about the square root of 1% of a population is all that's needed to change its thinking, and that will have a knock-on effect and change the whole general consciousness of an entire population. Okay, so it's also been shown in studies that prayer, now let me validate that what I'm about to say. Prayer, I'm not talking about in the religious sense. Prayer could mean so many things. Okay, so like prayer doesn't have to mean that you pray in your religious manner to your God. Okay, prayer can be a meditative thing, whereby you sit and you visualize and you ponder, and see something acting out or unfolding the way that you'd like it to be in reality, if that makes sense. Okay, so that can be prayer. So Greg Braden, he talks about a scenario where I think it was a Native American Indian, if I remember rightly. It's a long time ago that I read this, but whether I'm right or whether I'm wrong, the message is the same, right? So what he did is, when he was praying for rain, and I say praying quote unquote, he would stand and he would feel his feet on the ground, his bare feet on the ground, but then he would begin to visualize that the feet were on wet, muddy ground, and he'd feel the coolness of the mud, and he would feel the wet against his skin, and he would feel the puddle, and he would feel the raindrops bouncing off the ground and splattering mud on his feet, and he would actually engage in his inward sense of the rain falling and the texture and the feeling of the rain and the texture of the ground that would be, as the ground would feel if it was wet and it was raining. And he would, really get involved in this visualization and completely, vividly feel the rain falling, right? Smell the fragrance of the rain, right? Engaged all of his senses in an imaginary manner, right? To the point that he believed that it was raining, and then it had an effect. I mean, it rained. And that's what prayer is. And you know what? While we're on the subject, I wasn't planning to talk about this, but I will. See, let's talk about faith, okay? Now, anyone who knows me and who follows me knows that I'm very against religion, and I don't believe in religion. In fact, I would term myself as an agnostic person. I believe that religion is toxic, and I believe that it is, that the idea of an omnipresent, omnipotent, all-powerful God is completely unfounded. There's no evidence for it, etc. And I'm not going to dwell on that, but I want to talk about faith, because people refer to faith as a belief in God and a belief in a religion, and but faith is so much more than that, right? See, I'm a believer in faith. Even though I'm not religious, I'm a believer in faith, because what is faith? Well, actually, the Bible itself, listen to me, I'm quoting the Bible to prove my point. How hypocritical is that? Anyway, the Bible itself defines faith as being the evidence of things unseen, right? It says that in Hebrews. Okay, and that's actually an accurate description of faith, because faith is believing in that which is not as though it was. And in doing so, and this is why we are such amazing beings, right? We are amazing beings. We are created in the image and likeness of God. Now, what do I mean by that? Because I'm not religious. I don't believe the Bible in the sense that religious people believe the Bible, but we were created in the image and the likeness of the gods with a small g, the gods who we term the gods, who are actually extraterrestrials, the Anunnaki, right? They came and took man who already existed and genetically manipulated life on Earth in their image to be more like them. Perhaps they took us from like an ape-like type being to a hairless being, right? So, we have extraordinary abilities because we were created in the image and likeness of a supreme race of beings. That does not mean that they were good. All right, I'm not saying that. They could have been good, they could have been bad, they could have been half good, half bad. Some of them may have been good, some of them may have been bad. All right? I mean, there was war in heaven, conflict in heaven, there was disagreement, there were sides, okay? Lucifer, did he fall from grace? Was he kicked out of heaven as the Bible describes, or did he leave in protest because he didn't agree with the totalitarianism of Jehovah, right? But anyway, the fact is, we have been upgraded, right? And we may have been upgraded for the wrong reasons. It might have been to enslave us, but the fact is we have been upgraded. And that's why we are more intelligent than our ancient human ancestors that were primitive. Not ancient. Some of the ancient civilizations were very advanced, and in some ways more advanced than we are today. There's a lot of lost knowledge, but so far as like primitive ancient beings, like getting close to the ape, we are an upgrade, right? And evolutionarily, it's happened too quick, right? So there's been some intervention. Not divine. Some would say it's divine intervention. It's not divine. It's basically intelligent intervention by a team of scientists, extraterrestrial scientists, geneticists. Okay, and they made mistakes, and they, maybe they wiped everyone out with a flood because they didn't quite get it right. Okay, but here we are today, right? And we have greater abilities. Could be negative for a negative reason, but let's embrace the fact that we are an upgraded species and we are continually evolving, right? The Anunnaki have left. It's been quiet for thousands of years, right? There's been no signs in the heavens. There's been no... I mean, yeah, okay, there's a few UFOs showing up now and then, a few spaceships flying around maybe. I'll grant you that. But for the most part, like, it's been pretty quiet for a few thousand years. You could say that the Anunnaki, the Elohim, have gone, right? But we are still evolving, right? And we have great abilities, and we're only getting better. Okay? Now, it's been proven as well in studies that, we've all heard of this. This is nothing new, about the monkeys on the island and washing the potatoes. And then, like, monkeys on other islands started washing their potatoes, but they did not communicate with each other because monkeys cannot communicate. But not only that, but they didn't have telephones, they didn't have internet. They didn't go visiting other islands on a boat because they don't do that. But somehow, when one lot of monkeys on one island started washing their potatoes, other monkeys started doing the same on other islands. It's the collective consciousness. That's what it is. That's what they were doing. Okay? So we are able to affect the world. And, it sounds cheesy, it sounds corny, but, it's like the old saying goes, one person at a time, right? And another saying goes, be the change you want to see in the world, okay? So, we start with ourselves, okay? We start with ourselves. It then, becomes a family thing. A family thing becomes a community thing. A community thing becomes a national thing, and a national thing becomes a world thing, right? So it starts small and it goes up. Okay, so we can really and truly change the world. Look how far we've come, right? And religion has not helped us progress. Okay, we have evolved in our morality without any insights from our ancient books. Okay, for example, I know I've spoke about this before, but slavery. There was no, at any time, there was no command in the Bible to abolish slavery, right? It could have been. God could have easily have said, you know what? Slavery is just wrong, man. Don't do it. He never said that. He said quite the contrary. He gave you tips on how to tips and tricks for slaves, to control your slaves, right? That's pretty much what the Bible goes into. It doesn't say abolish it. We decided to abolish it because we have evolved morally to a point that we realize it's wrong and we don't do it. And there's lots of things that we now see as wrong and we don't do it. And we evolve our morality based on how it affects others around us. It's about love your neighbor. That's what it's about. So, faith. We were talking about faith and we digressed, right? So we can, using faith, not in a religious manner, but using faith, we can bring change to this world, right? And I'm going to do a whole video entirely dedicated to faith very soon. But I've got 10 seconds left of this video because I keep them under 15 minutes. So I'm going to end it here right now. Just a few tidbits for today. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to